Hello everyone. Today's poem is 十五夜望月寄杜郎中 by Wang Jian. Tomorrow is Chinese Mid-Autumn Festival or Mooncake Festival. So this video together with this Tang poetry is my gift for the Mid-Autumn Festival, and I wish you all have a happy festival and think about your family members, think about your best friends, and try your best to reunion with them. That's my best wishes. Now let's get back to the poem. The poet Wang Jian belongs to the Mid-Tang period, which means the Civil War was over. Anyhow, the vast Tang Empire was still in a chaos. A lot of the region, they don't obey the order from the emperor, from the central government. So the wars between the central government and those regions not under control happens frequently. Wars in the northwest, the wars in the southeast, the war in the Sichuan province, the war in the northwest. There's a lot of the wars, and also the foreign countries take the advantage of the weak Tang Empire. They also invade a lot of the places belonged to the Tang Empire. And we can see this from the life experience of Wang Jian. So he was a person who passed the imperial exam. Anyhow, he didn't get a position in the central government. He went to the army, served in the army for 13 years, and at very late, roughly around 46, he found a job in the government. So in the Tang Dynasty, the people, educated people or the scholars, of course, they want to contribute to the country and get a job in the central government. But normally it's two ways. The very best or direct way is pass the imperial exam and then get a position in the central government. The other way is sort of the roundabout. He can went to the army and serve the army as a secretary, and normally it's much easier for them. It doesn't need any qualifications. As far as the general appreciate this one personally, or someone can introduce you to the army, you can get that job. So a lot of the people, they cannot pass the imperial exam, and then they diverted to the jobs in the armies as a secretary in the armies, a lot of them. So from the life experience of Wang Jian, we can see it's quite strange. He passed the imperial exams. Anyhow, he didn't find a job in the central government. So he served 13 years in the army. At a very old age, finally he went back to the central government's position. And this poem was written in the last few years of his life. And he was a governor as a local governor in Guangzhou. Wang Jian's poem was partly on his army's life. The majority of his poem was on normal people's life, which is quite miserable and sad after the civil war in Tang Dynasty. He was born in a quite normal or rather poor family, and once for a period of time, he's so poor that, as he described it, he varies the food every day from the morning till the night, which means he even cannot find enough food for himself for a period of time. This makes him feel the same as the normal people of that time, and also he was an educated person. The country, the people was the focal point for educated people in the ancient China. So these two factors makes him worries and take care of the normal people's life, and he can feel it with his real and true life experience. That's make his poem very real and with true feelings. He has been as an officer for quite a while, for more than 10 years. He needn't to worry his food, his living anymore. Anyhow, let's see from this poem how he worries the normal people at still. 十五夜望月寄杜郎中，王建。中庭地白树栖鸦，冷露无声湿桂花。今夜月明人尽望，不知秋思落谁家。A very simple and very beautiful picturesque poem. The title means 十五夜, the Mid-Autumn Festival's night. The Mid-Autumn Festival is always August 15th in lunar calendar. So every Chinese, when we see the 15th together with the moon, it's very clear, no doubt, it's Mid-Autumn Festival. So at this Mid-Autumn Festival's night, everyone would look at the moon. It's a must to do, and that's all about the Mid-Autumn Festival, the moon cake. So Wang Yue looked to the moon. 寄杜郎中, 寄 is sending mail to someone. 杜郎中 is a person. 郎中 is an officer's title, so that's a style. 杜 is the family name. So which means this poem is for someone not on site. A person named with family Du, and he was someone in the central government. 中庭地白树栖鸦。中庭, the central courtyard. So this is a typical Chinese house. It's just like a central courtyard surrounded by the houses in 4 directions, in 4 sides, and all the houses enclosed this central courtyard. So you can still find this sort of the traditional Chinese houses in a lot of places, and in Beijing we have a specific term for this type of houses, 四合院. So that's it. So that which means they are sitting in the central courtyard, and that's the tradition and the custom for the Tang people. In the Mid-Autumn Festival, go to some of the high places in the mountain, or just sit in your own house in the central courtyard, look to the moon, drink wines, and play some music, and think about your family members not on site. 地白, the ground turns white color. So that's the very exactly and very vivid description which is this moon shines on the ground and makes ground looks white. Doesn't mean the ground is white. And this is quite similar to Li Bai's famous poet 疑是地上霜. So in the Mid-Autumn Festival, Li Bai also looked at the moon, and when he looked down to the ground, he thought the frost on the ground, because the moonlight shines on the ground and makes the ground white color, like it has frost. 树栖鸦, so it's also a custom. So that normally in the center courtyard, the Chinese will plant a big tree, and on that tree, the crow birds was staying on that trees. The crows used to be a favorite birds for Chinese before the Tang Dynasty, but after Tang Dynasty till today, the crow normally for Chinese means bad fortune. So we don't like to encounter with crows, especially when the crow cries or makes sounds. So it's hard to tell in this poem the crow means good fortune or bad fortune, but this is a very typical, very vivid situation. In the autumn's time, the leaves all fallen, and at this night, people always look up to the moons. So in this center courtyard, of course your eyesight will go through the trees somewhere, and the crows is very outstanding on that tree without leaves. And if you have the chance, went to Beijing, this is another very outstanding phenomenon in the main street, Chang'an Street. That street is just in front of the Forbidden City. That's the main street of Beijing. And the autumn's time, the crowds will almost, it's full of the crowds standing on the trees along the Chang'an Street in Beijing. And in the nighttime, it's very clearly the crowd is so many. It's just like they make the trees has some leaves. Actually, at that time, the leaves all fallen. So this sentence actually for me is so familiar because pictures or the experience when I go through the Chang'an Street in Beijing. 冷露无声湿桂花. The doors became cold. It's mid-autumn. The climate is getting colder and colder, and there's no sound. And this cold dew wetted the osmanthus flowers. The osmanthus flowers blossom in the autumn time. It's very sweet, so sweet and so nice. I like it very much. And it's very pleasant. Anyhow, in this sentence, you can feel it's not so pleasant because the cold normally for Chinese always implicate the sadness, and this cold dew wettened the flowers, which possibly makes the sweet flavor faded or go away. 今夜月明人尽望. So such a simple sentence. Tonight, the moon is so bright everybody is looking to the moons. So when a Chinese reading it, it's just like someone is talking about your own life. You are looking to that moon as well. 不知秋思落谁家。秋思, the thinking of the autumn. So normally has two meanings. The autumn is a season of fading away. The leaves fallen, the time passes, and the life passes. So that's a sort of the sadness to express the sadness of the life has gone or is going, and the time is passing by. The other one is the thinking about families. And in this poem, 秋思, the thinking or the feeling of autumn is more on the thinking to the family members, to the best friends. 望月怀远, so this is fundamental for Chinese, looking to the moon, thinking to the remote places. So in my personal ideas, in ancient China, when the people departed, the family members, the best friends departed, it's hardly for them to see each other again in their lifetime. But they always think about their family members and best friends. So that's the cultural things. That's the fundamental in the Chinese cultures. So when the Mid-Autumn Festival comes, so this is the time, and this is the moon we share together no matter where you are. So at this time, I'm looking to the moon. At this time, you are looking to the moon. Even we are at different places, we are so far apart, but we share something common, the bright moon. Of course, the thinking to each other. But the moon is a symbolic thing and very easily to remind you. It's the time, it's the date, this is the moon you need looking to. And then when you look into, you think about to your family members, to your friends. With such background, 不知秋思落谁家 is quite simple. So I don't know this thinking, this feeling of autumn will drop down to whose home. So in this sentence, it takes the thinking, the feeling of autumn as a person. So this makes the sentence dynamic and different. In either way, we can put this sentence at this meaning. So I don't know whose home will have this thinking or feeling of autumn. So with the background I have explored before, this question sounds ridiculous. Everybody is looking to the moon, is thinking about their family members and thinking to their best friends. It's ridiculous and weird, right? Let's review the whole poems from the very beginning. And also this poem has a remark by the poet himself, 十会请客, which means at this time when he writing this poem, they have a party with musicians. And from the last sentence, the thinking or the feeling of autumn is also a very famous name for a music. So here it related the 秋思 with this music as well. So let's review this poem from the very beginning. So they have a party to celebrate this Mid-Autumn festival, and they look to the moons, and they have the music. Maybe they also have wines, writing poems, and sort of things. And at this moment, the poet Wang Jian think about his friends in very remote place. 杜郎中, the title, he's writing to someone in other places. So he's thinking about his best friends. So that's the meaning, first meaning of this poem. He's writing to some friends, his best friends, far, far away, and they share the same moon, the same time, as the only collection of their friendship or their thinkingness. What can he might possibly think about his friends? So in a good, peaceful time, so that's very purely simple thinking. How good you are? Do you have good dinners? Who you are reunion with at this very moment? Do you think about me? So that's a very normal situation in a good and peaceful time. But at this very moment in the Mid-Tang period, the wars broken here and there, so many families lost their home, their friends died or enrolled to the army, to the very remote places. We even don't know, a lot of people even don't know their family members, their brothers, their fathers, their sons, their best friends is alive or not at the very moment. So the thinking is more sadness and more deeply and more worrying. And when we look back to the sentence of this poem, 中庭地白树栖鸦, so I think the crowds here is more of bad luck, because the surroundings and also the situations around the people you know around your place, they all have a similar sadness. The separation from the family members, separation from the best friends, and we have no idea what the status of those people, still alive or dead, lead a good life or he's starving right now. The second sentence, 冷露无声湿桂花, it tells very clearly the music was over. The music, not only the moon, the bright moon, the music also made the people in this party more sadness. And 湿桂花, the music wettened the osmanthus flowers. It implies someone is crying, the teardrops. Thus, the last sentence make sense. So at this central courtyard, at this party, it's still a reunion. They can still have the music, have some wines, have friends together. But the poet, his worry is to his best friends, to the remote place, but that's not all. His mind goes beyond his best friends, 杜郎中, but actually he's asking whose family can still have the music, have the parties, have wines, have friends, reunion together to celebrate this Mid-Autumn festival. Which family can still have such luxury as me? So he's worrying to every family, to the normal peoples, rather by asking who today is the date we should think about our family members to our friends, and whose family is thinking about their families or their friends tonight. It's definitely not. This expresses the full sadness and thinkings of the poet. He's worrying to all the people, the normal families. The osmanthus flowers has its own implications. In the Chinese fairy tales, there is a osmanthus tree in the moon. So whenever the osmanthus flower or osmanthus trees was mentioned together with moon, basically it refers to that moon. So the moon has teardrops or whitened by the dews. So that means the atmosphere is so sad under the moon all over the country. So that's the thinking, the mindset of this poem. And the last sentence, the key word is 落, the dropping down. So the thinking, the feeling of the autumn drop down to someone's home. It's just like very easily to let the readers associate with the thinking with the feelings with the moonlight dropping down to every house, to every people, and the thinking, the feeling, the sadness is everybody with that moon, at that time. Okay, that's for today. It's a little bit sad poetry, and thinking about family members not at sight, thinking about friends parted is always a sad feeling. We celebrate this day, this moment, because we have family members, we have friends. Okay, that's for today. Bye-bye.